A delightful morning, dear students. I welcome you all to my fifth session. Let's continue with lesson 1, that is nutrition, the food supplying system. In our last session, we have discussed about structure of chloroplast and mechanism of photosynthesis. With that, we have finished the topic autotrophic nutrition. Now, we are moving forward to learn about heterotrophic nutrition, its subdivisions, and mode of acquiring food by few heterotrophs, and at last, nutrition in human beings. Come on, let's continue. Heterotrophic nutrition. The mode of nutrition in which organisms cannot prepare their own food and depend on plants for their food is called heterotrophic nutrition. For instance, all the animals directly or indirectly depend on plants for food. This is of three types: saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition, and holozoic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition. This is the process of nutrition in which organisms obtain their food from decaying organic matter. They break down the food material outside the body and then absorb it. Example: yeast, mushroom, bread molds, etc. Parasitic nutrition. This is the process of nutrition in which organisms derive their food from the body of another living organisms without killing them. Example: cuscuta, lice, leech, tapeworm, etc. Holozoic nutrition. This is the process of nutrition in which organisms take the complex organic food material into their bodies by the process of ingestion. The ingested food is digested and then absorbed into the body. Example: amoeba, cat, dog, human beings, etc. Let's discuss the nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism without any definite shape. It takes its food by using temporary finger-like extensions called pseudopodia of the cell surface. Pseudopodia fuse over the food particle, forming food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down to simpler ones. Then they diffuse into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested food material is moved to the surface of the cell and is thrown out. Now, let us see the nutrition in paramecium. Paramecium is also a unicellular organism. It has a definite shape resembling the sole of a shoe. Food is taken in at a specific spot. Food is moved to the spot by the movement of cilia, which covers the entire surface of cell, and the food is directed into the cytosome and sealed into vacuoles. Now, parasitic nutrition in cuscuta. Cuscuta is a plant commonly known as dodder plant. It belongs to the family Convolvulaceae, that is morning glory family. It is a leafless twining parasitic plant. The genus Cuscuta contains 170 twining species distributed throughout about the temperate and tropical regions of the world. Chlorophyll is absent in Cuscuta, hence show parasitic mode of nutrition. But Cuscuta reflexia possess a very small amount of chlorophyll. When the doda seed germinates, an anchoring root emerges out and then a slender stem grows and develops till it reaches the host plant. Then it twines around the host plant and penetrates its root-like structures called haustoria through the host through the stems of the host plant. These haustoria draw water from xylem and nutrient from the phloem of the host plant. Now, moving on to the nutrition in human beings. Human digestive system is very complex in nature. Different parts are involved in and perform different functions by using various digestive juices and enzymes. First of all, let us know what is digestion. The process of breaking down of complex food substances into simple substances with the help of enzymes and absorbed into the body is called digestion. And the human digestive system and in the human digestive system, the alimentary canal is a long tube extending from mouth to anus. Let us recapitulate the various organs and glands present in the alimentary canal, starting with mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus are the various organs present in the human digestive system. And salivary glands, liver, and pancreas are the glands which are associated with our alimentary canal. This is the flow chart of various organs and glands involved in the process of digestion. There are 5 steps involved in the process of digestion in human beings, that is, ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion, and the large insoluble molecules of food is broken down into small soluble molecules which can be absorbed by the body is called digestion. And the process in which the digested food passes through intestinal wall into the bloodstream is absorption. And assimilation is the process in which the absorbed food is taken in by our body cells and used for respiration and energy provision. And finally, the undigested food is expelled out of the body is called egestion. Now, let us discuss what happens to the food in our mouth. When we take food, it is cut and crushed by our teeth and gets mixed up with the saliva and becomes wet and slippery. This process is called mastication. The tongue helps in mixing the food and pushing it into the esophagus. The lower jaw also helps in this whole process. The chewed food in the mouth cavity is called bolus. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands. They secrete saliva which contain an enzyme called salivary amylase or ptyalin. This amylase helps in the breaking down of carbohydrates into maltose in our mouth. The carbohydrates are turned into maltose by the action of salivary amylase. Then the food, which is called bolus, enters into the esophagus. Here, epiglottis, a flap-like valve, prevents the entry of food into the trachea, that is windpipe. Esophagus is a muscular elastic long tube. Its upper end is connected to the pharynx and the lower end to the stomach. It passes the food to the stomach by the wave-like movements called peristaltic movements. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles of esophagus is called peristalsis. This peristalsis can be continued throughout the alimentary canal. So, the food from esophagus enters into the stomach. Stomach is a bag-like structure which secretes gastric juice. It contains a protein digestive enzyme called pepsin, HCl and mucus. Here, what is the function of HCl? HCl kills the bacteria present in our food and it also facilitates the action of pepsin. It turns the inactive pepsinogen into active pepsin. So, the inactive pepsinogen by the action of HCl turned into active pepsin. Then what is the function of pepsin? The enzyme, it is an enzyme which digests the proteins into peptones. The proteins with the action of the enzyme pepsin, they turn into peptones. And the mucus layer protects the stomach from the action of HCl. The food at this stage in the form of soft slimy substance where some proteins and carbohydrates have already been broken down is called chyme. Now the food material passes from the stomach to the small intestine. Here the ring-like muscles called pyloric sphincter passes only the small quantities of food material into the anterior part of the small intestine, that is duodenum. The small intestine is the longest part of the alimentary canal. It receives the secretions of liver and pancreas, which changes the acidic chyme into alkaline. Liver secretes bile juice, which is stored in the gallbladder. Bile juice does not possess any enzyme. It converts the large fats into small globules. This process is called emulsification. So, the large fat molecules by the action of bile convert into small fat globules. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juice into the duodenum, which contains enzymes like amylase, trypsin and lipase. Here, amylase converts the carbohydrates into maltose and the enzyme trypsin converts the proteins into peptones and fats by the action of lipase turn into fatty acids and glycerol. The walls of small intestine secrete intestinal juice called succus entericus for further digestion of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. The process of digestion starts at mouth and ends in the small intestine. And finally, the carbohydrates are converted into glucose and proteins into amino acids and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. The digested food is absorbed by the walls of small intestine. The walls of small intestine have finger-like projections called villi, which increase the surface area for absorption. Blood vessels and lymph vessels are also present in the form of a network in villi. So, the absorbed food gets transported throughout the body by blood circulation. The undigested food material further passes into large intestine where maximum water is gets absorbed by the walls of large intestine. Then the undigested food material temporarily stored in the rectum and ultimately expelled out through anus. This process is called defecation. And this is the flow chart of alimentary canal where various organs and glands involved in the process of digestion. Let's have a quick recap of this session. In this session, we have learnt about heterotrophic nutrition where some organisms like amoeba, paramecium and cuscuta, and also the nutrition in human beings. Thank you.